Okay, so you're all welcome to class. Today, we'll be looking quickly at drive mechanisms. Drive, drive mechanisms. So drive mechanisms is essential to petroleum engineers, reservoir engineers, when it comes to production of oil and gas from the reservoir. Okay, so quickly we'll be looking at the different types of mechanisms that we have, drive mechanisms that we have. So first of all, I'll be looking at what a reservoir drive is. What a reservoir drive is. So a reservoir drive is a form of energy. So it's a form of energy that drives the system of the reservoir. It is the energy responsible for the flow of fluids from the reservoir through the wellbore to the surface. So when you talk about the movement or flow of well fluids, whether oil or gas, from the wellbore, that's the subsurface to the surface, you need a drive. That's the energy. The drive is the energy to drive, to push, quote and unquote, to push the fluids from the wellbore, that's the subsurface, to the surface. So we have different types of recovery or drive mechanisms. We have the primary, the secondary, the tertiary, and the infill recovery or drive mechanisms. Here, first of all, I hope you have your notes and your pen so you can write some few things down. So I'll be a bit fast. If you're unable to catch some, you can listen to the video all over and then you'll be able to grab them all. So reservoir drives can be classified in various ways. You have the displacing drive. An example of the displacing drive is the gas cap drive, the gas cap drive. Gas cap drive is a displacing drive, okay, because another type of displacing drive is water drive. So we have the gas cap drive and the water drive, okay. They are classified as displacing drive because as oil is produced from the reservoir, you have water, the water and the gas, okay, replacing the void spaces that are left behind while oil is produced. So that's for displacing drive. Then we have another class, which is the external drive. External drive, an example of external drive is the water drive. Water drive is an external drive because you have an aquifer. Your aquifer is not located in your reservoir. It is rather located either at the edge, okay, and we can have it at the flanks. So you can have a bottom water drive or edge water drive, which we are also going to see shortly. So you have the water drive being classified as an external drive. Then you have an internal drive. Internal drive. An example of internal drive is the solution gas drive. The solution gas drive. The solution gas drive is classified as an internal drive because you have expansion of fluids of the solution gas. I believe you know what solution gas is from our previous classes. So you have as oil is produced from the reservoir, you have expansion of your solution gas. So your solution gas exists within the system of your reservoir fluid. If you have your reservoir fluid existing as oil, you have a solution gas embedded in it. As pressure is reduced, as bubble point is crossed, you have droplets of gas from the oil. But below the at the undersaturated state, that's above the bubble point pressure, what happens? You have expansion of as pressure reduction occurs, or even between that window of your initial reservoir pressure and the bubble point pressure, you have a slight expansion, okay, that occurs as a result of your solution gas drive. So it is regarded as an internal drive, okay. Another class that you have is the depletion drive. A depletion drive, example of depletion drive is the gas cap drive. The gas cap drive. The gas cap drive. So the gas cap drive, what happens? there is expansion of your gas cap. Okay, expansion of your gas cap as oil is produced. Okay, then generally you have your water drive, your gas cap drive, your solution gas drive, your gravity segregation, and some few ones that we're going to be seeing in your slide. So going back to the slide here, you have uh, recovery of hydrocarbon from an oil reservoir is commonly recognized to occur in several recovery stages. Okay, so you have the drive mechanisms, okay, occurring as a primary drive, or your primary drive mechanism resulting in primary recovery, your secondary drive mechanisms resulting in secondary recovery of your oil, your tertiary drive mechanisms resulting in tertiary recovery of oil, or EOR. It's also known as EOR, enhanced oil recovery, or leading to infill recovery. Okay, so your recovery is just, what recovery means is just whatever is put in place um, in order for oil to be produced from the reservoir. So recovery is how much of oil you could get from your reservoir, you could produce from your reservoir. And there are drives. Drives are energy, like I said initially. They are energy that back up the reservoir system in order for your oil to be produced from the reservoir to the surface. So you have your primary recovery. So your primary recovery is naturally the energy system of the reservoir. Okay, the natural energy that drives the reservoir. Usually in primary recovery, the natural energy of the reservoir, okay, transport the fluid from the subsurface to the surface, from the subsurface to the surface. Okay, so there are different sources, and then usually you have the water drive. The water drive. You have the production from your reservoir as a result of presence of your aquifer. So the primary energy are the energy systems, okay, that are natural energy or natural drives of the reservoir. Okay. In the history of reservoir, the drive mechanisms may not really fully be known, but most of the time, as a result of the analysis of the production data that is gotten, okay, some of drive mechanisms are identified from this production data. The earliest possible determination of drive mechanism is a primary goal in the early life of the reservoir. So you have to understand what is the natural energy behind your reservoir, because it will help you in determining how long you can produce from that reservoir, the economics of the reservoir, what is to be put in place in order for the reservoir to come to life, in order for it to be produced. Okay, so, and then reservoir management. Okay, reservoir management. So the natural energy of the reservoir has to be known, can be known from your production data. So it has to be detected early. One of the common natural energy of the reservoir is the water drive, or the water energy, the water drive, okay, from your aquifer. So if a reservoir is discovered and then there's a nearby aquifer, either edge aquifer or an underlying aquifer, that's the bottom water drive or edge water drive. Okay, so either of these two, if it is discovered early that there is a backup aquifer that is providing energy for the driving of oil from subsurface to the surface of the reservoir, this will help in the management of the reservoir, like I said, determine how long the reservoir will be produced. So all of this, the determination of the natural energy of the reservoir, is to be known early. It will help usually in reservoir management. Then the secondary recovery, usually when the primary energy of the reservoir, that's the primary recovery energy, is dropping, that is, is depleting over time because it depletes over time. Yeah, we have strong aquifers, that's a strong energy that provides strong energy for the reservoir, such that over years we have reservoirs that have been producing over years, backed up by a very strong aquifer energy from the aquifer, such that they still produce for over 40, 50 years. So it can be that strong. But for those that are weak, natural energy, whereby depletion occurs over time, at a certain point in time, another energy will be needed. And that energy is referred to as the secondary energy or secondary recovery. So it's aided by injection of water or gas from the surface, okay? So wells will be drilled, injection wells will be drilled nearby, okay? There are calculations to determine where the position of injection wells. So injection wells will be drilled, and then a form of secondary energy, okay, in terms of injection of water or gas. There's so many other things that can also be discovered that can be injected, okay, into those injection wells in order to provide energy for the drive of the reservoir. Okay, so and in other cases, we have the tertiary recovery, that's EOR, which are a range of techniques broadly labeled EOR, applied to reservoir in order to improve production, in order to improve production. So every other thing that you do, apart from the primary and secondary recovery, they are referred to as enhancers, okay? They enhance the energy of the reservoir. They are referred to as EOR. And then after all these have been done, and then you still have maybe a certain quantity of oil that can still be recovered from the reservoir. You still have the reserve, okay? So you can still go on to do infill recovery. So infill recovery is carried out when recovery from the previous three phases have been completed and still have a high recovery. Okay, it involves drilling chip production holes between existing boreholes, wells, that's wells, to ensure that the whole reservoir has been to fully deplete its oil. So all these are being carried out. In some texts, we see it as primary, secondary, and EOR. Primary energy, secondary energy, and EOR, or primary recovery, secondary recovery, and then EOR. Some don't go as far as infill recovery. So it all depends on the team, depends on the reservoir team and those that are working with them, production team. Every team comes together, and then you have to understand your recovery factor. I think we discussed this before now. Your recovery factor, is it still high or is it still low? So all these will determine whether you go as far as infill recovery or other types of recovery methods that you may want to deploy to your reservoir. Okay, so we see here this is a reservoir. You have the cap rock. You have the cap rock, that's your seal. It's usually an impermeable formation or impermeable rock. Underneath you have the gas, and then you have your oil existing within your reservoir, and then you have your water underlying it. You have the source rock, okay? So here you have the source rock, the migration from the source rock to the reservoir rock, okay? And then there has to be a seal, okay, there's migration and there's accumulation, okay? So it migrates, then it accumulates into the reservoir rock, and then you have a seal. So for here where you have water, this water body is referred to as the aquifer. This is an underlying one. I think you'll still see a picture that depicts that. These are like an underlying water body, so the aquifer. So what happened here is that when a well is drilled, let's say well is drilled from here into the reservoir, as pressure drops, I believe you can connect the last class where we discussed RS, the concept of BO, the concept of RS, the concept of BG, you should be able to connect it to what I'm explaining here. So as pressure drops, what happens? Um, what happens here? The oil is produced from here, from this section. As oil is produced, you have voids that as oil leaves the pores, oil is produced from the pore, from the reservoir pore. Okay, it leaves void. That's like here, an empty space. What happens as the empty space increases? Pressure is dropping. We don't want pressure to drop because as pressure drops, we lose production. Okay, production reduces. So what happens? The water here replaces flows. So if the aquifer here has high permeability, okay, if it has high permeability, what happens? The water flows and replaces the void, fills up the void spaces that the oil leaves behind. Okay, so when it fills up the oil spaces, what happens? The pressure shoots up. You have an increase in pressure. So that's like maintaining the pressure of the reservoir such that you have continuous high pressure and a high production. Okay, so production continues because you're able to maintain the pressure. Okay, and then you don't have um your the pressure of your reservoir going below the bubble point pressure. Okay, I believe you understand that and you can link that to what you learned while we plotted our pressure RS and our pressure BO plots. Okay, so within here as well, within this gas, here's the gas cap. So we have energy from here. That's expansion of gas cap occurs here. Okay, so this gas is not just here, no. You have the expansion. So it also provides the energy. You remember I mentioned gas cap drive as a depletion example of a depletion drive, and also as an example of displacing drive. So you have here, where you have gas, you have expansion of this gas cap leads to provision of energy for this reservoir, such that it improves the energy of the system, the reservoir system, and then you have production, continuous production from your reservoir. Okay, let's go on. We see some other things. So there are five important drive mechanisms. You have the solution gas drive. I've mentioned that, gas cap drive, the water drive. One that I've not mentioned is gravity drainage, rock and liquid expansion, and then combination or mixed drive. So every reservoir system that you see, that you encounter, have either one or two, okay? Either one or two, or a mixture of all these drives, all these energy systems. For the solution gas drive occurs here, within here, because you have your solution gas within your oil. I believe by now you understand solution gas, okay? So occurs within here. For your rock and liquid expansion, the liquid is expansion of your oil itself, and the rock is expansion of the cap rock and every other rock system within your reservoir system. So there's expansion, but the contribution of the energy of your rock and liquid expansion, or especially the rock expansion, is quite small. It's quite little. I believe you remember the isothermal compressibility. The compressibilities I had to write in the last class. You should be able to connect to what we are discussing today. The compressibilities of your rock, compressibility of your gas, of your ideal gas, water compressibility, and the likes. Okay, so they all are connected and they come into play when it comes to production of oil from your reservoir. And like I said, you have a combination of mixed drive, mixed drive. Okay, mixed drive. So for a reservoir system, you can have the solution gas drive, the gas cap drive, and the water drive. You can have gravity drainage, gas cap drive, rock and liquid expansion usually occur in most reservoirs because you have the presence of rock, and if you are producing oil, you have the liquid expansion as well. Okay, so let's look at recovery ranges for each drive mechanism. So how much energy does each of these energy system, okay, provide to production of oil or contribute to production of oil from the reservoir? You have the solution gas drive, that's the evolved solution gas, and its expansion about 20 to 30%, which is which is good, which is good, which is good. You have your evolved gas contributing about 18 to 25%, evolved gas and its expansion. Okay, so about 18 to 25%. You have gas expansion about 2 to 5%. You have the gas cap drive contributing about 20 to 40% gas cap as a result of gas cap expansion. You have your water drive, okay, aquifer expansion, and that's why um, it's usually a plus if a reservoir is discovered and there is a strong aquifer backing it up. So you have 20 to 60%, 60%, okay? You have the water drive, the water from the aquifer driving your reservoir system. So about can go as high as 60%. And then you have your bottom. So if the aquifer is now existing as a bottom water drive, it can be as 20 to 40%. If it's existing as an edge, depending on the structure, uh, structural existence of your reservoir. Okay, so if it is the water drive is existing at the edge, at the flanks, you can have it as high as 35 to 60 percent contribution, energy contribution to production of oil from your reservoir. And then you have drive by gravity, that's gravity drainage, can be as high as 70%. So I want to check up other materials from online videos, check textbooks. You have the recommended text. So check text, check all these values which have been stated here, check, and then be able to tell why some are low, why some are high, advantage of one over the other. What's the advantage of gravity drainage over over water drive? Is there any advantage? Is there any advantage of water drive over every other drive that have been stated? So I could ask questions in that line in your exam. So combination drive, so mixed drive occurs, like I said earlier before now. Um, just a minute, please. Okay, so the reservoir pressure and GOR trends for each of the main three drive mechanisms is shown below. So when you have, okay, before you go to that, when you have combination drive, uh, combination of such as your presence of your aquifer, the gas carb drive, the solution gas drive, they can operate together to aid your gravity drainage, to aid your gravity drainage. The reservoir pressure and GOR trends for each of the main three drive mechanisms is shown. We'll see it in a moment. So your water drive maintains the reservoir pressure much higher than the gas drives and has a uniformly low GOR. Now you want to maintain a low GOR, that's gas oil ratio, a very low GOR uh, when producing oil from your reservoir. If it is a oil reservoir, you want to produce oil, you are interested in oil. So you are interested in maintaining a very low GOR. And how does that correlate with the last class that we held? It's saying that you have to maintain your reservoir pressure above your bubble point pressure in order to maintain a low GOR. Okay, your reservoir pressure should be above your bulb point pressure in order to maintain a low GOR. When you cross your bulb point pressure, what happens? When you go below your bulb point pressure, your GOR begins to increase, meaning you have your production, you have your gas coming out of your oil. Okay, so when you have gas being produced from your oil and you're interested in oil, your GOR shoots up. GOR shoots up. So water drive, for water drive, it maintains this reservoir pressure. Why water drive has an edge above every other drive? It maintains reservoir pressure. I think I'm kind of answering the question I had to attend to. So it maintains reservoir pressure and then maintains a low GOR, a low GOR. Okay. So we see here the water drive, the reservoir pressure between 60, around 70 to 80. The gas cap drives, uh, you can see the oil production in percentage of OOIP, um, original oil in place. So the least of all is solution gas drive, okay, which the oil produced can go as low as 20%, as low as 20%. For gas car drive, can be higher, is about 35, 37 here. And then we see that water drive. One thing about water drive is that it a good provides a good reservoir maintenance, pressure maintenance. Okay, so what do you see here? You see reservoir pressure being maintained, Okay, this is the percentage of the original reservoir pressure. So you see it's being maintained. So you still have your reservoir pressure around here, and then you have production, which is still going as high as 60%, your OOIP. So water drive, that's the hedge that it has over gas cap drive and solution gas drive. Okay, so when it comes to issue of gas, especially when you're producing oil, once you gas cap drive, of course, um, for you to have presence of gas cap, okay, your reservoir is in the saturated state. So you have presence of gas cap, and then this gas cap can expand, thus producing energy. As it expands, there's production of energy and it drives production, okay? But it cannot maintain pressure, and that's why it's a depleted drive. Don't forget that I mentioned types of depleted energy drives, okay? Gas cap drive is an example of a depleting energy drive. Here, the water drive,
Come
the
on,
water.
man. Come on, man. Sorry to interrupt, Sam. Can I ask a question, man?
Please, after when I'm done.
Okay, man.
Okay, so we go on. So we have seen water drive as a pressure maintenance drive, while gas cap and solution gas drives are depleting drives. Can we see pressure reduces, okay, maintains it for a while somewhere here, and then with time, pressure uh, pressure drops. Pressure drops for solution gas drive as well. Pressure drops. Here you have maintaining pressure somewhere around here, and with time, okay. So water drive is still the strongest. Strongest. It maintains pressure over time with high OOIP, high oil produced. Okay. Um, so here we still see the reservoir cross section of your gas cap, your oil zone, your water. Okay, so you have gas existing here, your oil existing here, and your water drive. You can see the arrow pointing inwards. So as the oil is produced, the water pushes the oil. you have the water from here replacing the pores, okay, which the oil leaves behind. So you have a high pressure maintenance from your water drive. And this is another view, the map view. You have the gas cap, you have the oil zone, and the water basin existing, okay. This is the area view, and this is the map view. Okay. So we can have a combination drive, like question that was asked all over the world. Either you have one or two, 3 or 4 drives existing within the reservoir system. Okay, so if at the end of the day there is a pressure depletion, infill can still be done. I mentioned infill. EOR can be done. Enhanced oil recovery can be done. All the ones I'm talking about now are primary drives. They are the natural drives of the system. Okay, I hope the person that asked the question is listening. So they are all primary drives of the system. You still have secondary drive, you have tertiary drive, you have the infill drive. Okay, so if after all had been done and the commensurable amount of oil, okay, is still left, okay, what happens? EOR is carried out. EOR is enhanced oil recovery, is carried out. Okay, but you have to have it at the back of your mind that whatever other forms of enhanced recovery you want to carry out, it must be economical. Okay, it must be economical. So you have gas cap, you have your oil, you have your aquifer, that's your water body. Your aquifer is your water body. Gas here expanding is a depleting drive because with time it can't hold your pressure and maintains the pressure for a very long time, so it depletes. Your oil here, your oil production occurring here, gas expanding. Your solution gas, don't forget, also expands within here. You have your water drive also driving the energy of this oil system. Okay, and then you have the push from this reservoir. This is not a pool of oil. The way you are seeing it is not a pool of oil like a pool of water. No, it exists within the pores of your reservoir rock. Okay, so this is vast. And then these energy systems that we have discussed so far pushes this into this your oil into here. These are the perforations, okay, and then oil is produced to the surface. This gravity drainage system, gravity drainage, we find this in your reservoir engineering. By Gulf Publishing Company in 1969. You can check this out. You can check it out. You will see this, you will find it there. You have your secondary gas cap here. This is your oil zone. This is your gas cap. And then you have your wells drilled into your oil zone. Okay, your wells drilled into your oil zone. You observe the location of your wells. Okay, somewhere down here, location of your wells. Okay, so that your oil, the effect of gravity on your oil pushes the oil down into these production wells. Okay, we have perforations, and this will drain the least of the oil that may be existing within the reservoir. Okay, so here, this will drain more. This will equally drain. You can see the positioning. And if their oils, okay, after the effect of gravity have pushed this down, if their oils are still existing somewhere here, this well is positioned to produce them. So your well positioning, I think you will do this in one of your courses. Under production, yeah, you should do well positioning. So the positioning of your wells is equally important in production of oil from your reservoir. Effective production, okay, as well as the energy of the system. So you have your oil zone here. You have the gas cap, providing the secondary energy.